Hey, boy. So I have a couple companions hiking with me today. I don't know where they came from. I think they're gonna follow me. Hopefully we'll find their owners up here. It feels so good to be on the trail right now. Getting a little workout with the legs, getting some fresh air, and enjoying spring coming to life all around me. I see colorful pink flowers budding on trees, lots of green buds all around me. Grass is growing. It is a little overcast and breezy today. The high is mid to upper 40s, and tonight's low right around freezing. So I still have to have my winter gear with me, so my pack's a little on the heavy side. So I'm here at Shawnee State Forest on the south backpacking loop right now. I parked at the trailhead, and I did this loop back in 2017, and that's not why I'm here today. But when I was here back in 2017, I remember seeing the Wilderness Loop side trail that branches off of the main backpacking loop on the south trail at site 6 or somewhere around there. So I've always wanted to come back and tackle that Wilderness Loop and see what it looked like, and that's what I intend to do today. So I'm just here for one night. I'm going to hike the 5 miles to the Wilderness Loop turnoff, and then stealth camp along the Wilderness Trail somewhere and hike back out tomorrow. But I'm going to take my time. I'm going to sleep in, enjoy a fire, a nice leisurely breakfast and cup of coffee tomorrow. This is no FKT attempt of any kind this time. This is going to be a relaxing trip. And it is mushroom season right now, morel season here in Ohio. And they have been finding yellow and gray sponge mushrooms here in southern Ohio. So I plan on doing a little bit of mushroom hunting tomorrow. But one of the great things about this wilderness loop is that since its designation as wilderness back in 1922, I think it was, it is no longer able to be touched by mechanized machinery. So there's no logging, no quarry digging or of any kind. So, you know, in the South Loop, I'm noticing right now lots and lots of bulldozer work. And, you know, they did that to make easier access for vehicles for forest workers. But it's very easy terrain for walking. It's just a lot of ups and downs. But I'm looking forward to getting off of this section and into the wilderness section, so there is no more bulldozer trails. It should just be a nice little footpath. I was very surprised at how many cars were in the parking lot. I didn't expect to see more than maybe just a few cars, but there was at least 7 or 8 in the main backpacking trailhead, and probably another 6 to 8 cars at the other parking lot right where the South Loop enters the woods. So, you know, it is a Friday afternoon. That's probably why. I'm used to going on my trips during midweek, so very rarely do I ever even see another vehicle at the trailheads where I hike. Boy, just look at all the green around me. I don't know if the camera picks all that up or not. I mean, 100 miles south from where I live, it's a big difference. We don't have any green like this at all. Hopefully that means the mushrooms are up. So actually, the real reason I'm here is because of Bryce Newbold. He was here a few weeks ago, I believe, as he posted a video last week about it. And he did the 40-mile loop. And it reminded me, after seeing that video, about the wilderness loop. I had forgotten about the wilderness. I can't say wilderness. I had forgotten about the wilderness loop. So thanks, Bryce, for bringing that to my attention by hiking the Shawnee backpacking loop. And by the way, Bryce, I am calling you out now to join me in a future FKT backpack trip. I don't know when, I don't know where. Maybe late fall. We can go tackle one or establish a new one. You know I like to do that. Let's find some crazy backpacking loop that hasn't been done before and set the standard. I know you want to do it. It's going to be nice taking a little break from FKTs, but I know by fall I'll be chomping at the bit for another one. I see some blue sky overhead. It's pretty nice. It's been pretty cloudy. Just ahead up here, a couple hundred yards, we have the Wilderness Loop turnoff. All right, so I just came out into the road right here. This is Mackletree Road, and this is where I should have parked. This would have been perfect Nice little area right here. Probably could fit 2 cars there pretty easy. And you enter back in the woods right here off of McEltree Road. And McEltree Road takes you right back to Turkey Lake, I think it is, wherever the boat launch is for one of the lakes there at the state park. And back on the trail, this is 2.8 miles from Camp 6, and I'm at mile 7. So 7 miles from the trailhead to this location. A little farther than I expected, so I'll probably hike for another hour or two, knock out a good chunk of this loop. But I gotta tell you, my left heel is really hurting. The plantar fasciitis is acting up. It has never fully healed since the Sheltoe Trace. It felt pretty good when I tackled the Quahana Trail, and this is the first time I have hiked over 3 miles since taking on the Quahana Trail last month, and my heel is feeling it. I can tell I've lost a little bit of my conditioning, and my knees are just a little bit sore. Muscles feel fine, just I can tell my cardio isn't where it was when I hit the big hills. But man, it's just this darn plantar fasciitis that will not heal up. I've been doing so many things to try to heal it like I did in my right foot, and it worked on my right foot, but I just can't get it to go away. I may have to take the entire summer off of hiking and running and to get this thing healed up for fall. All right, let's go find us a campsite. Right here is the turnoff to the Wilderness Trail. So I'm on this very nice, easy walking forest road, and I was looking at the map, and this goes all the way to the Ohio River to Buena Vista. I think that's what it's called. But that's where they used to haul stone out of here, out of the state forest, to barges down to Cincinnati in the mid-1800s to help build Cincinnati. So I thought that was a pretty neat piece of history. But we got about another mile on this. Get the sun out of the camera here. I got about another mile on this, and then we'll be taking a left off of this forest road and heading down to Camp 6. I haven't had any luck finding any good campsites. There's no established campsites, and I'm 2/3 through the wilderness loop now, trying to keep the sun out of the lens. So I figured I'd just push on to Camp 6, another hour of hiking, and I'll be there. And we got plenty of time. It's like 5:45, and it stays light out till almost 8 now. So campsite 6 it is, unless something pops up along the trail that will work. Well, we finally got off that forest road and went back down in elevation and have a little creek right down here beside us. And the trail is back to a little single trail footpath. And it zigs and zags around the terrain and the fallen trees and follows the creek. Very beautiful. Shadows are getting long. Well, I made it to Camp 6, and boy am I glad to be here. My left heel is killing me. Ended up being 17.5 miles today. Originally I planned on doing like 5 or 6, not 17. So it is 7:30, and the sun has went down over the hills, but it's still pretty bright out. I'm all set up and good to go. Still rocking the double Costco underquilt. That is going to be my next purchase, is to upgrade my underquilt to a real underquilt from UGQ. Still have the hammock gear Dyneema tarp there. And the only thing different inside my Dream Hammock Raven today is I did not bring my UGQ Bandit top quilt. I brought my Enlightened Equipment Revelation. I haven't used it in a long time, and I thought I'd give it a try this weekend, see how it feels. So the sky has cleared, and I imagine it's going to get very cold tonight. It is supposed to freeze, but we're tucked in amongst the hemlocks here, and we got some running water right behind me, right down there, so it sounds nice and easy water access. Tonight for dinner is sweet and sour pork. One of my top 3 favorite Mountain House meals. Well, I'm sitting here in my hammock waiting for my water to boil, and I was just thinking about today, about how it went. I was planning on a very enjoyable leisurely trip of 5, 6, 7 miles today, possibly 10, and then setting up a stealth site on a wilderness loop and having unlimited firewood to have a big fire for hours and just relax in my hammock, maybe even take an afternoon nap. Man, that didn't happen at all. I probably could have stopped earlier, but there just wasn't really any good spots that I could find along the wilderness loop. I mean, I could have made something work, kind of like I did when I was on the Sheltoe Trace. I would just find a spot that was flat and set my tent up in the dark. But I wanted an awesome site. I wanted running water. I wanted a view. And it just didn't happen. So that's why I'm here at Site 6. And, you know, I got an amazing water source. Got some good company. So we'll go talk to them and hang out there by the fire here in a little bit. That's one plus. I did not have to go collect firewood to make a fire. So something happened to me today on the trail that has never happened before in 3.5 years. I forgot my Sawyer Squeeze water filter. And I started the trip with 2 bottles. They weren't 1 liter bottles. They were probably the 23 ounce bottles, you know, the medium sized ones. And they lasted a majority of the day, at least the first 10 or 12 miles. And it dawned on me while I was hiking that I don't think I brought my water filter. So I took off my backpack when I was at a water source, and sure enough, it wasn't there. So I drank about a half a liter of river water today, non-treated. I didn't have my chlorine tablets either. I don't know where they're at. I thought I always carried those, but I didn't have those either. So I've been drinking unfiltered water for the last few hours. I'm a little worried, but it tasted fine, but I know that doesn't mean anything. I'm hoping I don't get Giardia or parasites or something, so I think as a precaution, when I get home, I'm going to take black walnut tincture. That's supposed to eliminate parasites from your body. So just in case, to be on the safe side, you know, even if I don't get Giardia or some kind of other waterborne illness, you can get parasites and not know it for years and years. So I'm going to take black walnut tincture, and that should take care of any parasites in my body. But I highly doubt there's anything wrong with drinking some creek water. I did it all the time as a kid. But, you know, got to be safe. It looks like we have a boil. Time to hydrate some Mountain House. Sweet and sour pork. Yeah, baby. Make sure it's all stirred up good. No chunkies in there. And then I'm gonna drop it down inside my pot koozie. It's hard to believe that's 2.5 servings it fits in there, but it does. Put the lid on there. We are good to go. I'm gonna let that set for about 15 minutes, maybe even 20. I always go extra 5 minutes on the Mountain House just to make sure everything's rehydrated well. There's dinner. Sweet and sour pork, all hydrated and ready to go. Looks like I might have put a little too much water in there. My goodness. Oh well. It'll still taste good. Good morning. It was cold last night. I got a little chilly. Even with a 20-degree quilt. You know, in the middle of the night, I ended up having to put on my my puffy. I didn't zip it up all the way. I kind of left it open so my body heat could still warm up the space between me and the quilt. But I would have been tossing and turning quite a bit without the puffy. It was chilly. So, in my opinion, the UGQ Bandit performs slightly better than the Enlightened Equipment Revelation. Well, I'm going to have oatmeal and some dried fruit for breakfast. Get packed up and meander onto the trail slowly. My knees and feet feel pretty darn good. The bottom of my heel on my left foot still hurts a little bit, but I feel well rested and going to work my way back slowly to the truck. Not sure of the mileage. 9? I think it's about 9. That's bananas, raisins, cranberries, and blueberries. All right, we have camp all broke down, and these are the fellows I hung out with last night by the fire. I greatly appreciate the nice warm fire and the conversation. Over here we have...
Oh, I'm Harrison.
I'm Scott. Tyler. Jacob.
Awesome. It's great meeting you guys.
Thanks. Nice to meet you.
We're going to have a beautiful day, it looks like.
Looks like it.
Yep. All right, let's get on the trail.
Thanks. We'll see you.
See you later. Back on the trail. And it's after 9 o'clock. That is the latest I have ever left camp in a long time. It felt really good to lay in my hammock for a half hour after waking up and enjoying a cup of coffee and oatmeal while sitting in my hammock. Oh, so nice. Such a change of pace from my normal routine of breaking down camp and scarfing my food down in the dark, and usually on the trail by 5:30 or so, if not earlier. But it is shaping up to be a beautiful day. It's a little overcast now, but it is supposed to warm up into the 60s. So I'll probably be shedding some layers soon. And if I remember correctly, there is a massive hill coming up. One of the biggest ones in Shawnee. All right, we got 10 miles back to the trailhead. And hopefully we see some good stuff along the way. So one thing I failed to mention about last night, when I rolled into Camp 6 about 7:15, I walked up to the camp and I could see that there was 4 tents and hammocks already set up. So I kindly asked them if it was okay if I kind of set up nearby them in a different area. And you know, I didn't want to disturb their camp out. But when I walked up to the first guy I saw, said, "Hey, how's it going?" He recognized me from YouTube and said, "Oh, Jason Wish." So that was kind of funny to get recognized there. And his name is Tyler, and he's from nearby here. He was out with his son Jacob and 2 of his friends. It was a real blessing to walk into camp and have a fire already going and not have to gather firewood and start a fire. Had a great time of conversation for about a half hour to an hour, hanging around the fire, just talking, backpacking, hiking, a little bit of YouTube. So it's great meeting you guys. I'm glad I ran into you at Camp 6. Maybe we'll see each other again in the future on the trail. Man, it is warming up already. There's no wind today, so that makes it feel a lot warmer than it really is. It's probably still in the upper 30s, I'm guessing, but as soon as you start moving, the layers start coming off. I thought I was being bold and starting cold, but I guess I wasn't being bold enough. Here we are at an intersection, and it is the beginning of the wilderness loop. So I've officially completed the loop. And a couple hundred yards this way, we're going to come out to a road. So I just got done with a pretty big climb. Probably the top 2 or 3 on the whole trail. And, you know, I remember back in 17 when I did this, saying that it was the most difficult trail in Ohio. And I still believe that. This is the premier backpacking loop for difficulty in the state of Ohio, no doubt, hands down. However, the climbs are normally 100 yards up to a quarter mile at the very most, with maybe 100 to up to 400 foot of elevation change or gain. So they're really not that bad. They're pretty short. Now that I have 2.5 more years of backpacking under my belt, all around 5 or 6 different states, and then coming back to this one, it makes me realize it's really not that bad. Nothing like the Quihana Trail that I just did last month in Pennsylvania. Steepness wise, this one might have it beat in most places, but the distance of the climbs at Quihana will just blow your mind compared to Shawnee. No comparison. I mean, some of those things are almost a mile long coming up out of the valleys. The hollows, the drafts is what they call them out there. Don't get me wrong, there's still some difficult sections here in Shawnee. Great training ground for some long distance hikes and training for hills, but nothing like some of the trails in Pennsylvania and the Carolinas. All right, this is the junction of Camp 7. There is water 0.4 mile away and the campsite is 0.1. And since I may never be back here again, I want to go check it out. We've come 4.9 miles from Camp 6. I've always wanted to see Camp 7, so let's go take a walk down there and check it out. That way you know if it will work for you if you are ever here. All right, this is Camp 7. Gonna have 2 little spots here. One right here. Not very many flat areas for tents. You could hang some hammocks in some of the surrounding trees. And it's got another little section right here. So there's 2 fire pits. Definitely better tent site right over there. And there's water right here. And there's a little creek right down there with water. There's no need to go another quarter mile to the water hydrant when you have creeks right here on the site. You know, Camp 7 isn't really that bad. Everybody wants to go to Camp 6 because it's in the pines and you got rushing water. But this one's just as good as 1 through 5, in my opinion. Not bad. I see the May apples are coming up. Mushroom season. Just came off the hillside there, crossed Lamp Black Road. And the trailhead is 3.5 miles from here. Now, since I've done that section of trail 2 times before, I've decided to take Lamp Black Road back to the backpacking trailhead, and it comes out right near the lodge. So probably gonna cut a mile off of it. Well, that is going to wrap it up, folks. I'm about ready to exit the trail here in a few moments. Had a great time at Shawnee State Forest, and glad I got to run into a few of my subscribers along the way. Perfect weather today to be outside. I'm surprised there's not more people on the trail. But this is probably going to be one of the last backpacking trips I have for a while, for 2 reasons. One, I need to let my foot heal up. Every time I go on a high mileage trip or any backpacking trip at all, my left heel just gets aggravated and it's painful. So going to be giving that a little bit of a rest, and it is kayaking season here soon. So hopefully the Colonel and I can get on a river here soon, maybe in May, once all this virus stuff passes, and spend at least a day or 2 on the river kayak camping. I do have one big backpacking trip coming up in June with several other Ohio YouTubers and an Indiana YouTuber. So be on the lookout for that. It is going to be an epic adventure where we're going. Really looking forward to that. Alrighty folks, thank you so much for joining me here at Shawnee State Forest Wilderness Loop. Until next time, I'm Jason Wish, wishing you a great time on your next adventure.